In a world dominated by Jujutsu, where power and lineage dictate destiny, Maki Zenin dared to challenge the impossible. Cast out as an outcast by her own family, marked by the absence of cursed energy, and dismissed as a failure of the Zenin legacy, Maki did more than survive. She rose above it all. In a battle against her own clan, Maki reduced centuries of tradition to ashes. Armed with the strength bestowed upon her through the sacrifice of her sister, Mai, and driven by the promise she made to her, this was the day raw strength triumphed over cursed energy, the day of Maki Zenin's ascension. Today, you'll revisit the battle that led to the downfall of the Zenin clan at Maki Zenin's hands, uncovering how she became so powerful after her sister's ultimate sacrifice in this very special video. But before we get started, hammer that like button and forge a binding pact by subscribing below with the notification bell on, so we can inch closer to our goal of 1,000 subscribers and ensure you never miss another Jujutsu video here on the channel. To understand the context of this battle, let's go back to the Culling Game arc. Maki was tasked with returning to the Zenin family estate with permission from the new leader, Megumi Fushiguro, to collect curse tools. The goal was to arm sorcerers for the challenges ahead. On her way, Maki was taunted by Naoya and confronted by her own mother, but she ignored them both, staying focused as she headed for the storeroom. Using a key, Maki unlocked the Zenin family's intricate security mechanism to access the cursed tool storeroom. However, upon entering, she was shocked to find the weapons completely removed. Inside, only Ogi Zenin awaited her, with Mai gravely injured, lying in a pool of her own blood behind him. Anticipating Maki's movements, Ogi had emptied the storeroom before her arrival and attacked Mai, keeping her alive solely as a hostage if needed. What Maki didn't know was that the higher-ups in the Zenin family were conspiring against Megumi. While many within the clan supported Megumi due to his strong ties with influential members of the GOJO and Kamo clans, others, like Junichi and Ogi, refused to let the family's fortune fall into his hands. Unable to assassinate Megumi directly without a justifiable reason, they used the Jujutsu headquarters notice as a pretext. Since freeing SATORU Gojo was deemed a criminal act, the clan plotted to execute Megumi, Mai, and Maki under the false accusation of conspiring to free him. Meanwhile, Junichi explained the entire scheme to Naoya, while Ogi confronted Maki in the storeroom. Initially excluded from the plan due to his impulsive and reckless nature, Naoya was sidelined. To gain credibility with the higher-ups, Ogi suggested killing his own daughter, a suggestion he not only supported but personally acted upon. Maki Zenin versus Ogi Zenin. Ogi adopts his swordsman's stance, as if ready for a duel to be decided in a single strike. He activates the falling petal emotion technique in its offensive form, intending to end the fight with one powerful and decisive blow. Maki, on the other hand, unveils Juzo Kumiya's masterpiece, Dragon Bone, a cursed tool capable of accumulating strength and cursed energy before releasing it through the back of the blade. Her plan is to feign acceptance of the single-strike duel while preparing to strike a second or even a third time if necessary. During their confrontation, Ogi questions why he wasn't chosen as the clan's leader instead of Naobito. In response, Maki mocks him with a sarcastic reply. Ogi then draws his katana with incredible speed while Maki reverses her grip on the Dragon Bone simultaneously. With precision, she blocks Ogi's strike, holding the blade in the inverted position. Quickly, Maki returns to a traditional kendo grip, wielding the weapon with both hands as her father pivots to deliver a counterstrike. At that moment, the cursed energy stored in the Dragon Bone is released through the back of the blade, propelling Maki's slash with such force that Ogi's katana shatters. Stunned by his daughter's strength, Ogi hesitates, and Maki seizes the opening. She swiftly advances, positioning herself behind her father to deliver a fatal upward slash. However, the Grade 1 sorcerer fortifies his muscles with cursed energy and spins rapidly to counterattack. Before Maki can complete her strike, Ogi fully turns and lands a devastating blow. His blade slashes through Maki's right eye and tears into her side, exposing part of her organs. As Maki collapses to the ground, gravely wounded, she struggles to comprehend how she was struck since Ogi's katana had been broken. However, the blade had been replaced by flames that mimic the shape of a sword. Tearfully and ashamed of not having become the clan's leader, Ogi reveals the true reason Naobito was chosen over him. His twin daughters were deemed worthless. Feeling victorious, Ogi drags the bloodied bodies of Maki and Mai Mai to a chamber used for discipline and training. He mocks Maki, criticizing her naivety in getting too close after assuming she had disarmed her opponent. She shouldn't have treated him merely as a swordsman, as Ogi was, above all, a sorcerer. Reinforcing that he had been held back from reaching his potential because of his worthless daughters, he leaves them in the chamber, destined to be devoured by the numerous cursed spirits inhabiting the space. A quick side note here. It was in one of these training sessions that Toji Zenin received the scar on the corner of his mouth. Even so, Mai refuses to give up on Maki. Noticing her sister still has a pulse, she revives her and meets her in a spiritual plane for a final farewell. On a beach, Mai explains that she will use her construction technique to leave something for her sister before dying from exhaustion. She reveals that twins are considered an ill omen among sorcerers because in the Jujutsu world, they are viewed as a single person, two halves of a whole. For this reason, by sacrificing herself, Mai can remove the minuscule cursed energy that existed in Maki's body, significantly enhancing her heavenly restriction and allowing her to reach her true potential. In return, Mai makes one simple request, for her older sister to destroy everything. A quick clarification for anyone confused at this point. Maki was born with superhuman physical strength and a level of cursed energy lower than that of an ordinary human. With her sister Mai's sacrifice, Maki's cursed energy was reduced to 0, and her physical strength increased exponentially. This inverse proportionality might seem confusing, but it makes sense. It wasn't just Maki's cursed energy that was erased, but also all of Mai, as she chose to sacrifice herself. Remember what Mai said? That twin siblings are considered a single entity. So, combining all of Mai's cursed energy with Maki's small amount and erasing it entirely caused Maki's heavenly restriction, her physical attributes, to reach a new pinnacle. Returning to the story, tragically, Mai dies after constructing a sword for Maki through her construction technique. This blade is an exact replica of the Soul Liberator, a sword capable of directly striking a target's soul, once wielded by Toji Zenin. Overwhelmed by her sister's sacrifice, Maki exorcises all the cursed spirits around her in a matter of seconds. Not far from the chamber, Ogi stops and turns around, noticing that all the spirits have vanished. He watches as Maki carries Mai's body out of the room, and his own body is suddenly gripped by a familiar fear, a sensation he had long suppressed. In her enhanced state, Maki's presence reminds Ogi of another person blessed with a heavenly restriction, Toji Zenin. Reacting to the chill down his spine, Ogi activates his technique, Burning Courage. He envelops his body in intense flame, coating his broken katana with even more devastating fire. Pointing his flaming blade at Maki, he threatens to burn her to the bone with his own hands. However, in the next instant, the top of Ogi's head is completely separated from the rest of his body. In a blindingly fast motion, Maki passes by her father, eliminating him with ease in a strike he didn't even perceive. Maki pauses for a moment, gazing at the cursed tool left behind by Mai. Determined to fulfill her promise, she tells herself that it's time to begin. Maki Zenin versus Kukuru unit. The other members of the clan are soon informed of Ogi's death. The alarm blares, and Ranta informs Jinichi that Maki has lost it and murdered her father. In response, the Kukuru unit is mobilized to capture her. This unit consists of clan members who lack innate techniques. Maki herself was part of this unit before enrolling in Jujutsu High. As the alarm bell echoes throughout the Zenin estate, Ranta rushes to alert Naoya and Jinichi about the situation. Nobuaki, captain of the Kukuru unit, orders his men to locate Maki and apprehend her before she can cause more damage. He knows that failure will earn him Jinichi's wrath. Nobuaki also warns his subordinates not to kill Maki, as he intends to deal the final blow himself. The Kukuru unit's men track Maki to the armory and confirm that she is holding two unfamiliar cursed tools. Over 20 soldiers quickly surround her, but Maki remains motionless, her eyes tightly shut. Her mind is flooded with thoughts of Mai and a lingering sense of guilt over what happened. She wonders if she should have abandoned her life as a sorcerer to pursue happiness alongside her sister. The attack begins, led by one of the Kukuru unit soldiers who issues the command to advance. Maki remains still, recalling Mai's final request, destroy everything. Resolving to fulfill her promise, Maki opens her eyes, now filled with fury, determined to annihilate everyone in her path. The swordsman leading the Kukuru unit charges at Maki, attempting to strike her with his katana. In the blink of an eye, Maki uses her own sword to sever both of his hands, literally disarming him. She then swiftly maneuvers behind him, circling around with agility to position herself perfectly to intercept another fighter approaching from a different angle. With a quick strike, she delivers a fatal blow to the top of his head before spinning back to decapitate the swordsman she had just disarmed. unharmed. Meanwhile, a sorcerer armed with 2 knives tries to land a hit on Maki, while another fighter with a cross-shaped mark on his hair positions himself in front of her. Maki reacts with incredible speed, plunging a sword into the back of the man behind her, while simultaneously delivering a devastating slash to the frontal opponent with the dragon bone. She uses the cursed energy jets of the weapon to enhance the cutting power, brutally disfiguring the man's face with the strike. Wasting no time, Maki drops the dragon bone and delivers a powerful kick to another sorcerer attempting to attack her from behind. The impact is so intense that the man's neck twists and snaps. She then mounts his body, locking his head between her legs, and arches backward into a bridge to dodge an incoming strike. During the motion, she decapitates the man with the broken neck in a single slash. Grabbing one of the knives from another Kukuru unit member, Maki quickly counters the next attacker by stabbing the blade into his leg before delivering a brutal slash down to his groin. After dispatching most of the team within moments, Maki crouches low, lowering her center of gravity, and crawls across the ground at high speed. In a precise move, she turns and slices a man's leg with the knife. Maki continues her carnage, violently taking down one Kukuru unit member after another until no one is left standing. Nobuaki, confident in his men's victory, bursts into the hall enthusiastically, throwing open the doors and asking for a status update. To his shock, the last of his soldiers collapses before Maki's blade. Nobuaki gazes in dismay at the brutally mutilated bodies scattered across the floor around Maki, who stands completely unscathed. At that moment, Maki senses a wave of cursed energy emanating from the end of a nearby corridor. The source is Chojuro, who quickly activates his curse technique. Suddenly, 2 gigantic stone hands rise from the ground, launching Maki into the air. Even mid-air, she maintains her balance, but the stone hands quickly attempt to crush her by clapping their palms together. Nobuaki, watching the scene, recognizes Chojuro's curse technique and realizes that members of the Hei division have arrived. The Kukuru unit, composed of Zenin clan members who lack innate techniques, is a subdivision of the Hei. These soldiers undergo rigorous martial arts training to become formidable fighters. The Hei, on the other hand, consists of the clan's most powerful sorcerers, all ranked as semi-grade 1 or higher. They are the strongest group of sorcerers within the Zenin clan and are currently led by Naoya. Among their ranks are Jinichi, Toji Zenin's brother, Ranta, and Chojuro, who have now joined forces to put an end to Maki's devastating rampage. Maki Zenin versus Hei. After being crushed by Chojuro's cursed technique, Maki astonishes everyone by breaking through the stone hands with sheer physical force. Nobuaki stares in disbelief, unable to fathom how she's still able to move after such an attack. Wasting no time, Maki dashes along the stone arms. Chojuro moves to intercept her, attempting a flying kick, but Maki deflects his attack with her right hand while simultaneously blocking Nobuaki's katana strike with her sword. Nobuaki attempts another attack, but Maki catches him off guard. Dropping her weapon, she crosses her arms and delivers devastating blows to Chojuro's and Nobuaki's throats with just her fingers. Both are stunned, realizing in their final moments the unparalleled speed and lethality of Maki. They can hardly believe they're facing the same person as before. Moments later, they collapse, lifeless. Suddenly, Maki feels the weight of Ranta's gaze on her back. 2 ethereal eyes appear behind her, activating Ranta's cursed technique. This ability paralyzes Maki's body by enveloping her in a dense layer of cursed energy. Without hesitation, Ranta shouts for Jinichi to strike. Seizing the opportunity, Jinichi charges toward Maki, who appears immobilized. However, Maki quickly regains control, shattering the paralyzing aura around her. Determined to break free entirely, she targets the ethereal eyes, smashing them into fragments. The destruction causes a severe backlash to Ranta's body, grotesquely crushing his real eyes as blood pours from them. Turning in alarm, Jinichi hesitates, but Ranta urges him to press on. The Zenin clan only exists because of Toji's whims, he admits, acknowledging that Maki has achieved the same transcendent level as that man, a power that surpasses cursed energy to reach supreme strength. Desperate to preserve the family's legacy, Ranta begs Jinichi to kill Maki before it's too late. Jinichi leaps into the air, activating his cursed technique and launching a barrage of massive, missile-like fists infused with cursed energy. The devastating assault rains down on the Zenin estate, reducing large sections to rubble. As Ranta collapses to his knees, consumed by his injuries, he believes Jinichi has saved the clan. However, his hope is quickly dashed as Maki emerges unscathed from the dust and debris, holding Jinichi's severed head in her hand. Carrying Jinichi's head, Maki walks emotionlessly past Ranta's lifeless body and tosses it into a nearby lake. It is at this moment that Naoya, the leader of the Hei, arrives at the scene. Observing the destruction and defeated members, he smirks mockingly and says, "You're ruthless, aren't you? Do you even have a human heart left?" Without hesitation, Maki coldly responds, "No. It was torn out of me." Maki Zenin versus Naoya. Zenin. Determined to confront her, Naoya activates his projection technique, landing at least 11 strikes in a single second. Maki tries to match the speed of his attacks, but Naoya surprises her by grabbing her arm and trapping her in a frame animation, completely immobilizing her movements. Maki keeps track of Naoya's movements as he dominates the fight. He knows her current strength is comparable to Toji, but he refuses to acknowledge her as an equal to him. Even after being struck by another giant stone, Maki quickly regains her footing. Naoya, maintaining his extraordinary speed, circles around the debris before she can fully recover. He delivers another high-speed strike, this time aiming for her head. As he attacks, he arrogantly proclaims that the only person worthy of being as strong as Toji and SATORU is himself. This guy's a comedian, isn't he? With blood running down the side of her head, Maki realizes the situation is growing dire. Although the projection technique doesn't allow the user to defy the laws of physics and has an upper limit, it can still be used to build up speed over time. Now moving far beyond the speed of sound, Naoya streaks across the battlefield, intending to pierce through Maki with a full-speed strike. However, Maki prepares herself for the charge. Lowering her center of gravity, she spreads her arms wide, assuming the stance for her Shiranuigata technique. Thanks to my sacrifice, Maki was granted a body completely free of cursed energy. Even so, she's still injured from previous battles, and knows she's at a disadvantage against Naoya, who now moves at overwhelming speeds. As Naoya breaks the sound barrier, hurtling directly toward her, Maki braces for impact, but suddenly, Naoya veers to the side and strikes her arm with a slap. Anyone touched by a user of the projection technique must obey the rule of 24 frames per second or be frozen in an animation frame for 1 second. Still moving at high speed, Naoya circles behind Maki, confident she's paralyzed. He's certain she planned to stop him, even if it meant breaking her own ribs. Refusing to fall into her trap, he mentally derides her as a fraud. However, before Naoya can land another blow, Maki turns around and counters with a devastating punch to his face. She is able to move because she has deciphered the secret behind Naoya's technique. He performs 24 movements per second. With her body enhanced by Mai's sacrifice, Maki finally understands the mechanics of the speed Naoya inherited from his father. The momentum of Naoya's movement drives his face directly into Maki's fist, but his mocking words are abruptly silenced as she smashes him into the ground with overwhelming force. The impact leaves Naoya's face grotesquely disfigured. Staring down at him with contempt, Maki sneers and asks, "Would you like to repeat what you were trying to say?" After defeating Naoya, Maki moves on to confront her mother. Overcome with panic, her mother screams for Maki to leave. True to her vow to destroy everything, Maki doesn't hesitate, spilling even her own mother's blood. Naoya's face is completely crushed, but he's still alive, barely surviving the battle. Stumbling through the Zenin estate, he bleeds profusely before collapsing inside one of the houses. Lying on the floor, he mocks Maki for failing to finish him off completely. However, his taunts are cut short by the arrival of Maki and Mai's mother, who appears behind him. With her throat slit and blood pouring from her neck, the woman wields a kitchen knife, resolute in her decision to take Naoya with her. Unable to use his cursed energy, Naoya is completely defenseless, as the twins' mother stabs him in the back. Before succumbing to her injuries, she silently accepts her fate, and admits to herself that she feels proud to have given birth to her daughters, Maki and Mai. Meanwhile, Maki carries Mai's lifeless body away from the estate. At that moment, Momo Nishimiya arrives but is too late. Visibly shaken, Momo tearfully regrets urging Mai not to go. Maki hands Mai's body to her classmate. When asked what she plans to do next, Maki remains silent. Resolute, she walks away, determined to fulfill her promise. According to official records, all absent members of the Zenin clan on November 12th met violent death shortly afterward. This included 6 Hei Division members and 21 Kukuru unit members. No traces of cursed energy were found, aside from faint remnants of an unidentified cursed tool. The woman tasked with collecting cursed tools had, in the end, become the most powerful weapon herself. And that's it, folks! What did you think of this incredible finale? Without a doubt, this was one of the highlights of the arc that's set to be adapted in Jujutsu Kaisen's 3rd season. If you made it to the end and enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button and double check your subscription so you don't miss out on future content.